That follow-up is everything in real estate. It's hard to continue to touch the person you already touch and you just made $50,000.
It is.
So you're like, I don't want to call nobody. I want to go eat. I want to go shopping.
I want to go out of town.
And then you get out of there. You realize it's 4 months later. You have nothing done. You have no one in your queue. It's very hard as a realtor because you're getting a lump sum of money. And this lump sum of money, quote unquote, could pay for most of my year.
Hello, I am Carolyn Mosley.
And I'm Deandra Pruitt, and we are Real Estate and Motherhood. Carolyn, tell me what you got going on.
I have a house that I'm trying to sell.
Your big one? Your biggest listing?
Yes.
I get it.
I just did a price reduction.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. To what?
$865.
Okay. That's only $10,000.
I know. I had to fight for that $10,000 reduction.
Does she know that like $10 in a monthly mortgage is like nothing?
Yes.
So it really doesn't make a difference.
She doesn't care.
Okay.
There's an emotional attachment to the home. She's a widow. Her husband, they bought the house together. It's their forever home. Kids out of the house. So it's a little bit tougher. And I think she's now wanting to be more open to doing what it takes to get rid of it. So we'll see. I'm optimistic about it. I do feel like it's a great listing. I know I can sell it. It'll just take time. Some listings take time, and this is one of them. What about you? What do you have going on? Oh, let's go back. I also have a lot of clients that are buyers that I'm having a hard time finding homes for.
You are? Why?
Yes. Because the average price of homes have gone up, and my clients right now are all the 450, 350, 300,000. And those homes right now, if it's a perfect home in the right area and what they want, if you don't snag it, it's gone. So literally,
it's so different.
Really?
Like, no, I mean, like, it's just different. Like, some areas they're sitting, in some areas they're gone. So It's like you basically have to actually know your zone and what you're looking for.
And what you're looking for, or be open to, hey, this house is what we want. It might not be exactly where you wanted it to be, but it's at your price point. You probably get a deal.
You know, it's something that I always say. I'd rather you be fluctual. Is that a word? I just said fluctual. That's a word, right?
It is, I think.
But I didn't mean that. I meant flexible. I'd rather you be flexible in the house than in the location.
Really?
Yes. Because you want to live in this area for a reason, right? So you can't get what you thought you can get in this area. So if you want to we live in Atlanta. There's a reason why. Is it close to your mom's? Is it close to your job? Is it close? So I'd rather you focus on the area and fix what you thought you could afford than you going to a whole nother city and now you're an hour away from your mom, because most people don't really do much in their house besides eat and sleep.
It's true.
A lot of people are at work or, the house is not where they normally are. And when they would rather be closer to people that they love or closer to their jobs, so you're not in traffic for an hour. Just like quality of life. I think living where you want to live brings a better quality of life.
I agree.
And you can always make a house look cute. Fix it, add it, take it away, whatever. Renovations are pretty easy nowadays. It's not like back in the day. So what I have going on is I had a perfect inspection.
You did?
Perfect.
For your list? Was it for your listing?
No, it's for a buyer. It's in Powder Springs. The house is super cute. It's about 8 years old, the house.
I'm loving Powder Springs lately.
I've always liked Powder Springs. I just don't like how far it is off of the highway.
I agree. But the houses, and for what they're worth, like you get a bang for your buck. I hate to say it like that.
You get a front and a backyard and a garage.
And a garage. So perfect inspection.
Yeah, and I've never had that, and I felt like my buyer wasn't as excited as me because it's like her second inspection. I'm like, so you're telling me that it is perfect? Malik's like, yeah.
My Powder Springs home inspection was perfect too. It was like small because the house sat so long, very small things, but nothing drastic.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I have going on. That will close next week, and I need it to close so bad, which is what we're going to speak on. The real of real estate, the ups and downs and in-betweens, because I know you guys have heard of the real estate roller coaster, right?
Yes.
Which is basically like, whoa, I made $50,000 this month and nothing the next 4 months, right? So we're talking about this because a lot of agents don't. A lot of agents still post and flex as if they got it. And they're like, oh my gosh, this deal has to close. If this gets extended one more time, my lights are off.
They're not giving the real.
They're not giving the real in real estate. And it is like that. And a lot of times when things get pushed back or don't close, it's not the realtor's fault. So that causes anxiety.
I think that was one thing that you definitely pushed for me to do when I first started. You were like, I would be like, this happened today, or I got a flat tire. And you'd be like, why didn't you make content about it? Why didn't you expose people to what you're really going through to get this done? That you're not sitting around waiting on someone to call your phone or looking cute.
Right.
You're actually working for them.
In the rain with a flat tire on the side of the road, and you have an 8 and you drive a Porsche, which makes this like tire thing so crazy because you don't just take it off the car.
Y'all, there was a whole mechanics, I don't know, first aid kit in my back in my trunk that I knew nothing about. I'm like, wait, what are you doing? Wait, what? The funny thing is, as a real estate a realtor, you have everything in your trunk pretty much. Oh, and there's things that you carry around that you don't want to take out because putting it in and out of the house, the mess, it's just too much. So while I was waiting on the gentleman to come change my tire, I cleaned out my trunk. The guy was like, let me organize this, get rid of this, not knowing that he was going to need to get to it. I was just like trying to kill time because
you were sitting on
I was sitting on the side of the road. And I mean, he literally, it's a first aid kit. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, she was like, thank God he knew how to change this tire because it was not like nuts and bolts where it's like unscrew, screw in.
Yeah, because I was in Chamblee and I had so many families like stop, like, do you need help? Do you need help? And I kept saying no, no, no. But I don't even think they would have known what to do with it
if you did need help.
If I did need help.
And that's scary now that you say that. The safety of being on the side of the road, being small, being a woman by yourself, and people just stopping, seeing you're alone. That's kind of scary.
It is.
It's sad that we have to think that way, but it's what we live in. So what was something that you feel like real estate professionally has helped you personally, like this career, because it's not like anything else?
I feel like real estate has helped me open up as a person.
Oh, wow.
I'm definitely not a person that gives any aspect of my life. And it's not that I don't have a great life. I do. But I'm just not showing you different aspects of my life. Not because I don't want you to see.
You're private.
I'm private. I'm a private person. So this is actually opening up people to my world, to Carolyn. Like, this is.
They understand you now.
Yes. There's so many people that I work with for years. Like, this is like no joke. That I work with for years, that when I started actually posting and speaking on social media, that was like, oh my God, you talk. I've never heard you speak. And I'm like, what?
Oh, wow. So you're just like Chloe.
Yes, I am.
Wow. I've never heard you speak. She probably was with them for 3 years.
Literally, verbatim. I've never heard you speak. Oh my God, I've never heard you. Like, you're talking.
Well, I didn't realize how much of an introvert you really were until other people started to point it out, because you were not that way with me. Right. So like, because I was so aggressive with forcing myself to be your little sister because of your closet.
Well, tell us how you really feel.
Every day she'd come to work, I'd be like, "Ooh, I see those shoes, girl. Nice purse. Oh, that's so cute. Your blouse is so cute. Literally. It made us, well, she still didn't really accept me, but I thought you were not accepting of people. I didn't know you were not talking to people. Do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't, you didn't give me the vibe of don't talk to me. You just gave me the vibe of this doesn't make us friends. And it did. 11 years later. So how did we get off that shop?
I don't know, but that's what real estate did for me. It opened me up to just letting people in, and I mean, it feels good. I am still like hesitant, like I'm not a boastful, like show off type person. So like sometimes I'm like, oh, should I? And you're like, why didn't you post that? Yeah. Like, why didn't you celebrate that moment?
Well, also because a lot of people don't realize this is content. So I got to point it out. Like, that's content, right? Like, that's something that would have been great. You're on live sitting in the car. Like, y'all, I'm still here. You're on Facebook Live and then people just start talking to you. And that's how you kind of build up the social media presence by actually doing it. So I try to point out to the people who I love, like, hey, that's content. Because a lot of the people that are in our circle work for themselves.
Right.
And social media is not going anywhere, as we can see. It means everything. A tweet nowadays means something in the basketball world for my child. So
what about you? What did real estate open up for you?
Real estate opened up, what professionally helped me personally is faith. I personally, now my personal life, don't have to worry because I know if it's supposed to be, it's going to be, because professionally, I've seen so many miracles happen in the real estate transaction that I know it had nothing to do with the numbers or the person, that it was absolutely God to make all these moving parts, the lender, the attorney, the buyer, the seller, their families, everybody's schedule, their finances all work to make something happen.
Right.
Helped me with knowing that whatever's going to happen for me, it's going to happen because it's supposed to happen that way.
Right.
So the anxiousness it's helped me with of I'm 36 and I don't have the truck that I want. I know that I'm going to get it just when it's supposed to happen. So just
patience, maybe.
Kind of patience and faith together. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because you have to have faith in order to have the patience, like waiting on God. So it's also taught me that, like, just to stay still.
Right.
Because I don't stay still. So that's definitely okay. So you've only really been selling for a year and some change, but from one deal to the next, what was the biggest gap for you? Meaning you closed in March and then you didn't close again until blah, blah, blah.
A month.
A month. Okay. So you haven't felt it.
Not really a month though. Like almost a month.
So you haven't felt it. You haven't felt the real estate roller coaster.
No, I haven't. I don't think truly.
No, you haven't felt it. You'll feel it one day if you don't do what you're supposed to do. So like,
oh no. When I first started, I sold a house in September. Mm-hmm. And I didn't sell again until December. And then January, it just like everything started going for me after that.
Okay. But you weren't really working.
Right. I wasn't
in
the business.
This is kind of what causes the real estate roller coaster. So with real estate, you're always working and prospecting, even when you're not showing houses, right? Mm-hmm. So once you get that house under contract, you got to go on to the next person. If you weren't preparing the people that are in your little queue.
Yes, that's exactly what it's like.
So you got these people in your queue.
You like, in the queue. Okay. Got people on the phone.
I got him under contract. Let me call this person in my queue. Let me call this person in my queue. Like, you got to literally follow up.
Yep.
That follow up is everything in real estate. A lot of people get sick of that. One, they feel annoying. Like, I'm calling you again 30 days later. We just talked. There's nothing else that you're not ready. But it helps because sometimes I'd follow up and they'd be like, oh my gosh, it's so funny. I just told my neighbor about you. I'm not ready, but they're ready to sell, And so the follow-up can lead to other things outside of, are you ready to sell? Are you ready to buy? Right. So just touching the person, keeping those touches alive helps prevent the up and down from the real estate roller coaster is what I noticed. But it's hard to continue to touch the person you already touch and you just made $50,000.
It is.
So you're like, I don't want to call nobody. I want to go eat. I want to go shopping. I want to go spend this
I want to go out of town. I want to travel.
Catch me when you can. I'm out of here. And then you get out of there. You realize it's 4 months later. You have nothing done. You have no one in your queue. Carolyn done called everybody in my queue because they was clicking on realtor.com.
Yes.
Right? So the importance of consistency and working when you don't need to work.
Yes.
That is hard as an entrepreneur. It's very hard as a realtor because you're getting a lump sum of money. And this lump sum of money, quote unquote, could pay for most of my year if I'm spending it wisely.
Right.
That's probably the biggest thing that I've always struggled with, like staying on the horse after I just won the race. To get back on there.
Got to get back on it. Got to keep riding it. But the emotional state for you during transaction.
It's changed. My emotional state for me in the beginning was everywhere. I didn't know how to control my emotions, their emotions. I didn't know what to say. I had to learn. I say the same thing over and over again. My clients never know. They think it's like personalized for them. But it's because they all kind of wig out about the same thing, right? It's the same trigger. So when you learn the real estate triggers, you already know what to say back. We're getting the inspection report back. I know what they're going to say, right? We get the appraisal back. It's not appraised at value. I know what they're going to say. So because I kind of predict their wigging out, I know how to counter it.
I don't counter. I prepare. So like, you know how you always tell me to text when we're talking about the inspection report. I'm like, okay, now if this comes back, then we'll do this, or these are our options. So
you plant the seed.
So that when something doesn't totally go how they thought it was going to go, we kind of know and I'll go back, remember, we talked about this, so this is what we'll do now. These are our next steps.
That's one of the reasons why I like an email and text as well. I will talk over the phone, but I kind of like following it up with email. So, okay, just so we're clear, the reason why is because a lot of the things are out of our control, literally. So because it's out of our control and we're really the only person that they actually physically see in the transaction until the end of the transaction. That means we're the only ones they can take it out on. Right. Their worries, their fears, their joys. So, and they feel like they know us.
They do.
We know them. Right.
And they feel like you have their back and you do. So you're
like, you know my business, you know my money, you know my schedule, you know how many kids I have, you know where I live. Like, we know their business. So it's a different type of relationship that they feel we should have.
Right.
And they remember things. Like clients that I worked with 6 years ago, when they call me now, they remember things that I didn't think they would remember. Like, oh, is your kid still playing basketball? Are your parents still living in Douglasville?
Or
like,
they
dang, you know me.
Yes, they like address like everything as if they're their aunt or uncle. Like,
yeah,
where's Chloe? How's Chloe? Did she? And I'm like, okay, I guess we're family.
I bet that's really how you are. Okay, I guess we're family. So that roller coaster often leads to anxiety.
Yes. For you and your client.
Because you haven't been on the roller coaster, have you felt anxiety within your transaction?
I have. I've just had deals. Just more recently, I think the most difficult one was my Florida client. Just because there were so many things and you feel like it's just so far away. Even though it's a phone call away. And even though like you may not touch bases with a realtor here in Georgia, it still just felt like it was so far away. Like they were moving slow. So many moving parts or people you don't have phone numbers to. Like she was selling her house in Florida. So you had the realtor on the buy side of her house for her house that was for sale. So that person is another person that you don't have the phone number to. You don't have the lender to that person that's buying her home. You don't know them. It's so I have felt anxiety, and the funny thing is, with this transaction, she was so calm. I'd call her and she'd be like, okay, this is my client that came up, saw the house, and
What does she do? Oh, she's a nurse.
she's a nurse.
Well, she's seen a lot of people die.
Yes. And she's like, just, and she does transplants. So she's seen
Oh, she understands.
the anxiety, the pressure, her job, that touching that liver, whatever you're putting in that kidney, how precious everything is. So I think I definitely had more anxiety than she did because I knew she was losing money on both sides if it didn't close.
Right.
And not that the money is important to her. She doesn't have it. It's just me feeling like I didn't do what I needed to do for her to save it, no matter if it's $500.
It was out of your control.
Right. Right. That's it. I didn't like not being in control.
Because you're a control person. Real estate made me realize that I like to be in control. Real estate made me realize that I don't like partnering with people.
We're partners right now, FYI.
We're different though, because we've been partners without being partners for 11 years.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, we've been best friends for so long. You've been part of my journey even when you weren't part of my journey, right? So
we ran restaurants together. Like,
we didn't have to build trust when we started working together.
No, we didn't. I think the trust that we have now was built upon us trusting in at a lower level. But we didn't even know we were building that. We were just working and it happened. It was organic.
Right.
We just had each other's back.
It was kind of organic. I kind of forced myself to be her friend. I'm
talking about the trust part. But then when we started to like really trust and know we had each other's back, that was organic.
Yeah,
it was natural.
For sure. Well, no, I think life made us trust. So me being able to pick up Chloe, you being able to pick up Jay, us picking up doubles because you needed to pay for something or I needed to pay for something. And so we weren't by ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, I think life and experience made us trust working together, because I know even if we don't talk, we haven't talked about the podcast at all, but we both knew we were going to show up. Right. You know what I mean? You just know, like, their character. So that trust, it helps our business run because I trust what you say. You trust what I say. If I don't see it, you might see it.
Right.
And our approaches are different, but they're always the same result. I can't explain it. Like, I might be coming at you like, yeah, and you may be coming at me like, ah, but we're still getting the same result. I can't explain.
Like, we might be like, I don't know about this, but I'm going to trust it.
Right. So it helps our business. And that's important to have in real estate, having the trust of your team, your attorney, your lender, because it's going to help anxiety.
It's so many moving parts.
Do you know how often I call my attorney and say, how do I explain this right? You already know how to explain it. I'm like, no, but you explain it to me so I can like explain it again. Like, how do I explain it so that it's causing less anxiety?
Right.
How do I explain
How do you make this
fee?
Smooth?
Especially a fee. Like, how am I explaining this fee so that I can, and she'll be like, do you need me to remove the fee? I'm like, no, I just want you to tell me.
Right. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm texting something and I'll retext it because every word, every detail is so important on how you deliver it, how your client is going to receive it, and the feedback that you're going to get back. Like, you should almost know what their reaction is going to be based on how you sent that message.
Yeah. And also because of experience of you sending it before and they came back with something else and you're like, ooh, I'm adding that in next time.
Right.
Right. So again, experience, like, the way I calm my anxiety or their anxiety is that I've been there. So sometimes you just have to go through it. And that's also comes with just life. You just have to go through it and then see how you got the result so that the next time you might take the shortcut.
Right.
Right. It's not as long of a process of building onto something new and getting the same result.
I agree.
We didn't talk about being sports mom. So what is going on with Chloe? Let's pause. I've been going to Chloe's games.
So you tell me what's going on with Chloe.
I go to Chloe's games. I'm a diehard sports mom. Okay. I am.
Give them background on Chloe's team first.
Okay, but wait, let them give me background on me. I'm the loud mom that's like, she ain't got no left hand. She can't serve. It's gonna be short. Blockers be ready. Okay. She goes to the type of school where no one talks at the game. So this is hard for me because the whole time I'm like, I want to be like, don't let that girl step in front of you, Chloe. That was your ball. Call it. Like, that's what I want to do. Okay. But if I do that, she's immediately going to be like,
How do you know that?
because I know you. And the entire gym is going to be like that. Like when I walked into the gym, I'm like, are we at a funeral or at a volleyball game? It is super quiet. Everybody on the team, besides maybe there's 26 girls, maybe 6 girls are black or another
ethnicity.
And some of the black people are mixed. So it's definitely a different type of atmosphere. And I also realized that there's never more than 2 black girls on the court, which also really bothers me. So you know me, I want to be like, why you got your scrubs in? Put the starting, like, that's how we do it in basketball, okay? I'll be like, take him out. Now, maybe that's wrong, but we're here to win. Like, we're playing the sport. We want to win. I felt like they didn't want to win. They wanted to play. Like, we played a game of volleyball.
Side note, volleyball is not cheap.
Oh, yeah.
By no means.
You're putting in all this time, money, and effort and training and all of this, and then we're going to play for fun? We don't need to train then. I feel like Chloe needs to step in front of that girl that's stepping in front of her. I would bump her. If she keeps stepping in front of me, I'm gonna be like, my bad. I'm a kick. I'm a bump. Because at the end of the day, every touch matters now. This is high school ball. You're trying me continuously, not like once or twice. She might have stepped in front of her 4 times, and then when she does it, the ball doesn't go over the net, y'all. Probably because she's overextending herself to get in front of Chloe, right? So even if I have to do it a nice way.
Without making that effort to anybody else.
Oh, yeah. She's basically being bullied on the court, and she wants me to sit at these games and be quiet, and she's getting bullied on the court? Man, ask Javion. We can call Javion right now. He'd be like, oh, God, Mom. You're doing too much. Yes, I am, son. I'm doing too much because I invested in you. The time, the money, the effort. You say you want to do this, right? It's your dream. Are you sure? You can tell me right now. You know how many times I ask him this? Like, you do not have to play. Do you know what we could do with the money?
I agree. I'm not.
Vacations, time. I could sleep. No. If you want to play at this level and you want to go somewhere and do it, and you want to go to college for free, and now you can be paid to go to, it's a business now.
It is a business.
I'm telling you to push that girl back. But me and Chloe haven't gotten there yet in me telling her, like, hey, this girl's not your friend. I'm kind of like, I probably will say it when the season's over because I need her to look at the film. I need her to see the girl step in front of her, see the girl not high five her. Like when you're in the game and you're focused, you don't realize you're getting mistreated.
Right.
And I think that happens a lot with Jay. Like, you don't see this kid pushing you? No, he's thinking it's just contact, not that he's actually pushing me.
Right.
Right. So, and it's different being not in the game.
I saw her realize it one time on film.
So that's where Chloe is.
Where's Javion?
Javion is soaring sky high because he has no damn choice. No. Javion is doing well. He had his confidence stripped and it's growing back. And man, is that hurt as a parent when your kid is hurting and there's nothing you can do. Whoo! Because when they hurt physically, you can put a Band-Aid on it, do whatever. One of the coolest things that happened over the weekend is he plays a game every Sunday. It's a fall league. And he has been the leading scorer the last every week, right? This week, he was the second leading scorer. And I'm like, I'm pissed at the game, just to be honest. I'm thinking he only had 10 points, and what the hell is 10 points, right? So the game ends, whatever. He's like, he texts me, how many points did I have? And I was like, less than that freshman. I don't even know. I just know that you had less points than that freshman. Like 10, I said, right? So he was like, I have 14. I'm like, well, then why are you asking me if you knew you had 14, right? So I go to my parents' house. He goes home. He FaceTimes me and he shows me, and his hand is gushing blood. And he's like, my hand has been bleeding the whole game. I said, so you were playing with your hand bleeding? I kind of feel bad now. I'm like, you were playing with your hand bleeding? And he was like, yeah, like it was it's his right hand. He's like, it was bleeding. And I was bleeding on the ball. And I kept telling the coach, like, hey, coach, I'm bleeding. And he was like, just go to the bathroom. And as soon as I came back, he was sent me back in. I was like, nobody had a Band-Aid. He's like, I didn't ask anybody. I didn't think he's going to put me back
Meanwhile,
in the game.
there's a trainer somewhere.
Like somebody, right? Like, he was like, I thought like he was going to be like, okay, now let's get you a Band-Aid before you go back in the game. He said, and then he says to me, Mom, why aren't you shooting? You should be shooting every third shot. And I'm like, because blood's going to go everywhere. Yeah, it's like this huge cut from him like dunking, like touching the rim, like he's practicing on. So it's cutting him and cutting him and cutting him. Y'all. So I was like, okay, this is a moment because you were hurt. You didn't complain. You were bleeding, which is so unsanitary. Dribbling down the court. Still got 14 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Why I remember his stats is ridiculous. But to me, it proved you do want to do this.
Right.
Because
serious.
It's not me. And you do see that you're a junior year in.
And how, like, you, even though you know you've asked your kids, like, do you want to do this, whatever, and they say yes, and they're training, they're putting their all into it. But sometimes you have those moments like, do you really want to do this, or am I making you do this?
Right, because you look like you don't want to do it.
You look like you don't want to do it.
And our kids have these faces.
They have the same demeanor. We're arranging marriage.
Like, they have this, like, I don't know what to call it.
It's a slouch. It's a slouch.
Oh, my God. Are you happy about anything? Literally. So, that's our
sports mom
real estate term of the day. What? I would say it is pre-closer. That's okay. A good one. Tell me about it. Pre-closer.
I don't know. I lost my train of thought.
It's my eyes.
Yes, it's your eyes this time.
The pre-closer is the person who assists the attorney. So she's doing everything for the attorney before the attorney. So this is who you really need point of contact with during the transaction as a realtor. This is also who you'll speak to as a buyer or seller during the process of the transaction. The pre-closer is the one who kind of is like driving.
Right.
And then as soon as she gets to the finish line, she hands it off to the attorney, and the attorney kind of acts like she's been driving the whole time, but really. So you want to get good with your pre-closer. You want to treat them right because they know everything about the transaction. My pre-closer that I normally deal with, she will call me and be like, the lender didn't send anything yet. You want to check on this. Most pre-closers, if you don't have that relationship, they might not do that.
And she's fast. She like responds so quick.
Are you talking about Jessica or Gabby?
Gabby.
Oh, yeah. Jessica's good too. And Heather was good before Jessica.
Jessica's good too. But I guess I'd speak to Gabby first.
Okay.
So, but yes, definitely have a relationship with your pre-closer. And if you are a pre-closer out there, I have dealt with some really bad pre-closers when I don't deal with my preferred attorney. Be good.
But also, they're probably happy at their job because Marissa's their boss, right? So work doesn't really always have to feel like work. And, it's the environment. So, for sure.
So that was our term of the day.
What was our quote? Oh, look good, feel good, play good. I'm on this Deion Sanders tip right now.
Oh, my God. Please don't. That's for next time. We'll talk about Coach. Everybody go watch Coach Prime.
Play my theme music.
Oh, well, thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Real Estate and Motherhood. Watch Coach Prime. I'm Carolyn Mosley.
No, for real. Play my theme music. I'm DeAndre Pruitt.
And we are Real Estate and Motherhood.